content was created. So is it like same thing or like something different you're doing?
Uh, I'll
I,
Now we are trying to operate ourselves in two different kind of objects. One is setup object as a user and non-setup object as a contact. See, logically there would not be any difference. It's kind of a same feeling you'll get while writing the code. But here what happens, we may encounter an error called mixed DML exception. So after encountering that error, and we should be knowing how to solve that error also. Okay,
okay.
you got it. So we are trying to get the goal for us is to get mixed DML exception. After getting that mixed DML exception, how to solve that exception? What is the see? Generally in Salesforce we have a batch class that we discuss. The same way we have a methods called future methods. So we should be knowing mixed DMLs can be avoided through future methods or a batch classes. So now we'll try to understand what is that future method will do and when we can leverage these type of functionalities. Okay,
And we never occurred that error previously when we were doing that thing, right?
which one?
The one like you told me like there would be one error.
Mixed DML
That's why
exception.
that
Yes.
yeah, right. So that error never occurred like when we were doing that
Yeah, I
account.
understand. So only I said that we'll try to get there. If it is not coming, like I'll be discussing the method directly. Okay, the same way.
Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's same. So there will be no difference if you are referring from a old sessions. Like it's same, but it's just like these people need to know. So first thing, public void sync contact. So in sync contact, I'll be getting a data from. I'll be calling this method from user trigger. Call this method from user trigger when there is a chain in the when there is an activity performed. In user object, what are the possible events that will get? In user object, what are the possible events will get? Here, right? There will be no three more events. What are the three events which is not there? Before delete, after undelete. Because in user object, once record is created, you are not allowed to delete. So it means that how many events left for us? Only four. Before insert, after insert, before update, after update, right? What are the events that is available for us here? Before insert, after insert, before update, and after update, right? So because in user object there is no option for deletion, isn't it? You all agree with this point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. If that's the case, what is the maximum data that it will get? Whatever you do in the trigger in the user object now will be considering those events for after only because after successful update of user, then only I need to update my contact. Clear? After successful update of contact, I mean user, then only I need to update my related contact. So I'll go with after. In this case, I'll be having map of ID comma user, new map comma map of id comma user old map. So before going further, let's go and define one trigger in user object. sfdx create apex trigger user trigger. We can create object user trigger on user object. Which object we need to create? User object. Instead of before, I will say after insert after update. So we also have a statement called SWI, switch on trigger dot operation type. We have a conditions call in Salesforce. We have an option called trigger dot operation type. Trigger dot operation type will give a enum values. What is meant by enum in the sense? By default, that let's say if it is I wanted to check for after underscore insert. Now automatically this will be true whenever there is a event call after insert. The same way I can write for other function when after update. So we have an option called trigger dot operation type. What is operation type? Operation type will hold a value of your event. Trigger dot operation type Salesforce, and we are going into the developer console. Trigger class runs in the context like say here we have operation type. See, returns enum type of type system dot trigger operation corresponding to the current version. The possible system dot trigger enums are before insert, before update, before delete, all the events you have. Okay. System dot trigger dot operation type is also there. So whenever the operation type is before insert, so then before insert will be true. If the trigger operation type is like the trigger is executing under after update, then after update will be true. So at any point you will be having enum value should be true. One enum value will be true. Okay. From the available enum functions, you have to write the same way. The way it was documented, you should be using the same way. Earlier, how we used to write? We used to write a if condition. If I can go to the contact trigger, how we used to write? See, if which one is easier, writing this way or writing this way, which is looking plain and simple.
Second, first one.
Which is looking good. See, this is like a very clean, right? After update, the same thing you will be having. If you had another one, all you need to say when before insert, and then if it is for a before update, then you can say before update. It's very clean one. So let's go back, and I wanted to call my method sync contact user sync. Contact user sync contact. So in after insert we have trigger dot new map, right? And do I have a trigger dot old map inside after event, after insert event? No, isn't it? In after insert you don't have a old data, right? Trigger dot old and trigger dot old map, which is not available for insert events. So I'll say null. And after update, instead of null, I'll say trigger dot old map. Trigger dot old map. Deploy it. My method has been invoked. I got the data. Now we need to understand few things. User and contact is related with a field called, which field is that? Contact ID, isn't it? Yes or no?
How?
How?
Means like how in the contact ID saying.
User, if I go to my partner user, now there is a contact, right? Contact ID.
Yep.
So they are related. Standard user will not get there, but partner user will have a contact ID, isn't it? For us, the agenda is to sync
Yeah.
the partner user and contact. So, what is the common thing between user and contact in this case? It's a contact ID, right?
Right.
So, only I'm using my contact ID here. So, only I'm using contact ID. Now, if let's say I need to store my contact IDs, let's say set of ID contact ID equal to new set of ID more than contact ID. Let me store this way. Map of ID comma user con user map equal to new map of ID comma user. So then we need to iterate record by record. Let's say here we'll do user new new user colon new map dot values. But this method is being invoked from two different places. One is from after insert, one is for after update. So first we need to check always, is this partner user? How can we check is this a partner user? And let's say developer console. If you remember a query yesterday, select ID comma name comma user type from otherwise let me add even contact ID. Contact dot name from user. So for this one, let's say here, power partner, we are getting a power partner, right? User type. So if you want to know what type of values available inside a user type, then what we can do, go to user SOAP API and we'll go to user type as a field, Control F. So what is the power partner we have? And CPS, high volume portal, customer portal, chart tree. But in this case, let's sync to power partner. I'm trying to figure whose access limited because a typical access applicable for partner label is partner. Okay. Now I'm going with the partner. If I can either check why I need to go even user type when I have a contact ID. I can simply use contact ID not null, right? Which says it is my portal user contact ID. Why I need to go that much? If contact ID is not blank, then I need to operate. Contact ID will be blank for all standard and other users, but it will not be blank for a partner users. That's a very clean picture for me. So I'll say new user dot contact ID not equal to null. Simple. So it means that this is valid for this one. Now what I can do, again we need to have a two if condition. So you can't get a whole data because whole data could be null in this point of time. So what you can do, if and old map equal to null, then I'll add my data to this. New user dot contact ID comma new user. The same way what we can do here, else if old map not equal to null, anyway this will not be null anymore, dot get new user no, I have to do this. Always I need to check whether this is not a contact. Null and old map dot get dot first name not equal to new user dot first name or last name. So what I'm doing now I'm trying to figure it out like whether my first name and last name has been modified from the record. If it is modified, then I'm adding to my collection. Then I'm keeping it to my collection. Now if everything is possible, check the con user map is not blank. So for that what I'll do, if control Z con user map key set dot size greater than 0, then what I can do here, I can say map of id comma contact con map equal to new map of id comma contact. So get a data from contact based on the IDs what we have from the con user map, the one we just got from contact where ID in colon con user map dot key set. Right? Key set will get all the keys. Now keys we have here is contact ID. That's what we are adding up. So once we get contact users, then what we can do, for contact record colon con map dot values. So now I'm iterating my for loop based on values and say record dot first name equal to con user map dot get first name. Record dot id. Can I pass my contact ID to get my user record, isn't it? Here the key we are using here is contact ID. So this contact ID will be same as this contact ID, isn't it? Based on that, I'm passing my contact ID. I'm getting my latest first name from a user update, user record. Any questions? The same way I do for a last name, record dot con user map dot get off dot last name record.id. Once I had updated everything, because this is updating to the same object of contact, what we are iterating from the loop, whatever we queried. So what we can do simply check for the size if con map dot values dot size greater than 0, then update the contacts to the contact object through DML. Now we can say update con map, and I'm saying deploys this to source arc. DML required a subjects list is all I need to use a function called values. You can't perform DML operations on a map or a set. You need a list of data. So I'm just converting to list, and this method is called, and we had a trigger is already deployed. So I think we are good. Let's quickly test it, how this is working. So if you can remember in yesterday's, in the last session, even though I changed my name in the user, the contact is not being updated. But today let's try in this way. Edit. And if I'm saying Lava Kumar, instead of Kumar, I'll say INKUR. Lava Inkurti. If I say, it got updated to contact, isn't it? The earlier contact name is Cloud Partner User. Refresh. Now we got updated, right? Yes or no? Whatever we change here. But let's say, even if I change my contact, will that gonna update there? If I say like this, will gonna update there? Lakshmi Inukurti. My expectation should update here as Lakshmi Inukurti even in the user record. No, it's not updated. So it means Salesforce is not working on singing. So again, who need to work on singing pattern? It's we need to work on it. Let's go back in contact user sync. So we have written for sync contact. Now written for write for contact to user sync. The identifier is contact ID here also, right? Here also the identifier is contact ID only. Yes or no? Public static void sync user. Here what are the events that we need to handle? Again same events will handle. Map of ID comma contact, new map comma map of ID comma contact old map. I think we already had a trigger here for contact. Let's go back. Contact trigger. So we already had an event called contact trigger handler and everything. Let's go back to contact trigger handler. And we have this method. So what I'm doing, I'm not deleting it, I'm just commenting it. Okay, and I am just commenting it just to avoid the conflicts. The solution, whatever we implemented, it may cause an issue. So that's why I'm doing this. Otherwise, it's a trigger handler, right? It's simple. I don't need like we need to do anything. But let's go and check whether this contact trigger handler is active. Yes, it is active. Perfect. Retrieve. Contact trigger is active. Cool. Okay. So this has been commented from the trigger only. Deploy. Now inside contact trigger for after insert and after update, I have to call my method called sync user. Let's go contact trigger handler. Contact trigger handler. Inside find duplicate. Do we have an event called after update? After delete? Where is after insert? Find duplicate. After insert, here we have create user dot sync user. Create user dot sync user, and I'll say new map command null. The same thing I need to do for after update. After update, yes. Instead of null, I'll say old map. Sorry. Deploy it. Now I'm calling the methods from a trigger handler. Okay, well and good. Now here we need to extract contact ID when there is a change in the first name and last name. Sorry, in this case, one thing I missed it. Contact trigger handler. We don't need to call in after insert. As soon as you insert, you can't create like a user as a this one contact. So I don't think you need to do after insert even at least. Why, right? First you need to create a contact, then only you can convert it as a partner user. So the time you are converting, it means that contact is already there. I don't think you need to do in after insert. Clear. Only one event we have called after update. Now let's go back, set contact ID is equal to new set of ID contact new rig column new map dot values contact old rig equal to old map dot get off new rec dot id. So I got id. Then what we can do, new rec dot last name not equal to old rec dot last name or new rec dot first name not equal to old rec dot first name. So if that's the case, then what I need to add? In contact IDs dot add new rec dot ID. So I added my contact IDs. Then check if check the size of contact IDs before doing user SOQL. Now check contact IDs dot size greater than 0. Then map simple. There is other way of doing it. Let's say user list of users equal to select ID comma first name comma last name comma contact ID from user where contact ID in column contact IDs. So then iterate your data with the for user users. Then simply what you can do, record dot first name equal to new map dot get of dot first name. Record dot contact ID, because contact ID is the unique identifier here. Instead of first name, now we have last name. Once we had a valid data information, then I can say if users dot size greater than 0, then update users. Any question? What is this error? Okay, it's my bad. Deploy this to SOSA. It got deployed. Let's go back to contact. Edit the contact. Lakshmi in Kurti. I'll say Lakshmi Deepak. So my expectation, my user should update it to Lakshmi Deepak in Kurti. Refresh it. Here, ideally, we should get a error saying that mixed.dml operation error. But fortunately or unfortunately, that error is not showing up. But for now, we'll do one thing. Control E, Control A, user u equal to select ID from user limit 1, and I'll say account is equal to select ID from account limit equal to 1. I'm just checking. Update u colon update ACC execute highlighted. First error, read only cannot insert where ID equal to Simply I'm saying update you. I am very sorry that I'm not getting this exception. Mixed email error. Sample code to get mixed DML exceptions. I'm searching for mixed DML exception code, uh, avoiding mixed DML exceptions. This is a test class. This is at a different level. What is mixed DML operations? Let's go inside it. I'm trying to figure it out. Sample codes, anyone? I'm just trying to populate something. Update select ID from contact where ID in colon contact ID. So I'm just saying this is not required statement for this class, but I wanted to see my mixed email operations. Edit. No, I'm not getting that error. So ideally, right, we are type rating mixed email operators, but anyway, I'll figure it out that sample code. And earlier also I was trying, but somehow I forgot. So generally, after getting that error, we need to use a method called at the rate future, as you are seeing in the solutions also. The recommendation always use at the rate future annotation. So what it means, in top of this method, we'll say at the rate future. So then this method will be asynchronous. If this is not there, so whenever the user calls this method from any place, it will execute instantly. But if I mention at the rate future, it will execute some other time, not this time. It's like it becomes asynchronous. It become like a backend process. That way you can avoid these mixed email errors before. But now the problem is that I'm not even getting that mixed email error. I'll try to figure it out if there is any available